Before we get started with today's show, I just want to remind you that you can save 10% on your order with Symphony of Balloons, a luxury balloon company that also offers a 360 camera. Just simply mention you heard about them on Breaking Through Glass Ceilings. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this episode of Breaking Through Glass Ceilings. I'm your host, Brian H. Waters. I know it's been a while. Got to get on myself about that because we all know consistency is key. But I ain't gonna lie to you. Maybe a little bit lack of motivation. Not burnout. Burnout. I'm not going to use that word loosely because when it happens, it happens. It's not the case. But last time I was here, we talked about television shows. I talked about All American Homecoming being canceled. Wow. The flagship show continues, and we talked about how long does a TV show has its time, right? I also talked about before that the whole beef back and forth, not beef. Let me correct that. The back and forth between Stephen A. Smith and Monica McNutt, where they clashed over how women's sports was covered. And I'm gonna stick right there today because I'm gonna jump right in to the saga. Now, while I was gone, while I was away, there was this whole discourse about Caitlin Clark, because you see a lot of people utilizing her name to push their political, misogynistic agendas, racial agendas, everything. Anything they can use Caitlin Clark for, they're doing it. And it's unfortunate because I'm like, Caitlin Clark was a hell of a basketball player. And they played her Indiana Fever, played up against Angel Reese's, Baltimore's own Angel Reese's, Chicago Sky. A game to be excited about, right? Because as somebody who I watched the WNBA, I've been, very vocal about that. I watch it, but I'm not one to like know every detail about everything. But I will say this. I recognize that, yeah, it's not just Caitlin Clark bringing eyeballs to the product. However, she is a big part of it. But you also have to credit Angel Reese and because of the fact that, the same rookie class, right? We saw this matchup in college. Now we're seeing it in the pros. And to me, it's like magic and bird. And it's fun. I'm looking forward to seeing these two ladies battle on the court for the next couple of years, next several years, actually. But the thing that was very interesting here this past week was there was a foul. Angel Reese was making a basketball play. And when I saw the play, I said, uh-oh, we already know what's going to happen. Everybody's going to say Angel was trying to be jealous of Caitlin Clark. And now that's going to be the story. And she said, it was a basketball play. Okay, they called it flagrant one. But you even had people like Matt Liner, somebody who I was a fan of when he was at USC. Was a fan of his. I was a fan of those USC Trojans. But this dude had the nerve to say that, that's not a part of that's not good for the game. And the tweet read, Angel Reese should be suspended, not good for the game. And this is one of those things where, what in the blue hell, like suspension? Suspension. Now, somebody, of course, people what Twitter will do, they will search for things, right? So somebody searched Matt Liner and they said, just a reminder, this is Alex Acorn. Um, just a reminder, Matt Liner has a voice in athletics for over 20 years. And yet, his first mention of women's basketball was earlier this month. June 1st to be exact. WNBA commish better start protecting their new star. So let me tell y'all something. It's always funny when people like search your name and tweets because, well, It was terrible that, he wrote that, he said that. No, she shouldn't be suspended. Like I said, it's good for the game. When you got 2 women and Angel Reese said she'll play the heel. She'll be the villain. This is good for the WNBA game. I love it. Um, let these battles every time Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark play basketball, it should be a nationally televised game because it's going to be fun watching those 2 ladies battle. WNBA, continue, market your stars. That's what we like to see. And I love the content creators who've been doing the sport a lot of diligence by covering it. They starting to get their flowers. Shout out to my homie Daniel Artest. His pod was mentioned on a WNBA broadcast, and I thought that was wonderful. I'm like, man, you would never see the NBA or NFL leagues mentioned in an independent podcast. But I literally watched him build this from the ground up, and you can check out our interview. And yes, Daniel Artest, the brother of, in my opinion, one of the greatest defenders ever to play the game of basketball, Ron Artest, Meta World Peace. Um, but you can see that he built this from the ground up, and when he did that, right, that he was always covering women's basketball, and as somebody who is a professional basketball player, a retired professional basketball player, I would always hear Daniel Artest say that the women's play a beautiful game. It's very fundamental, and I was watching the game a few weeks ago. um, it was the Seattle Storm. It might have been Seattle Storm and the Dallas Wings. But the game I was watching, man, it was so like it was just so crisp and it was fun. I actually enjoyed that more than like the NBA finals, to be honest with you. But, you know, people gonna continue to use Caitlin Clark's name. I'm glad she said what she said. Uh I know some people liked it, some people didn't. I think at this position, she damn if she do, damn if she don't. Yeah, she just want to play basketball. This is what she wants to do. This is her dream. There are times when you have a responsibility. You have people looking up to you. You have kids looking up to you. You have people looking for your voice and things. People used to say the same thing like Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson. It's just different things. Obviously different situations, but I'll be interested to see moving forward what happens, and then there was this whole thing while I was out about Caitlin Clark not making the Olympic team. And Stephen A. Smith was saying that, it should be marketed. If they want to market the game of women's basketball, then they should have had her on the team. And shout out to Andrea Carter, who said but it's not about marketing. They're trying to win. And it's just said that if they put her on the team, then there's the distraction. Okay, because is she going to play? Why is she not playing? So obviously, when you sit up there and say Caitlin Clark should have made the team, but you can't say who should have came off, there's your answer. There is your answer. You cannot you cannot justify her being on the team. So but shout out to the WNBA. Good luck, Team USA. Now, I saw this thing about social media warning labels. What are we doing? There was a opinion in the New York Times about this. Social media warning labels, and this was from a surgeon. And I skimmed through it, you know. I skimmed through it, and somebody even declared this. NPR declared this well, no, they said an unfair fight. The U.S. surgeon declares war on social media. So I don't know how you put a warning label on social media, right? So is every time you open up the app, it's going to be warning. I just think that's common sense. You know what I mean? Like I tell my kids, be careful what you see on the internet. My daughter is limited. Her YouTube is limited. I had a gaming page, right? My YouTube gaming page was shut down because my daughter was streaming, right? She was streaming a video game and the the camera was on, but and we was showing it to our family, right? But there was no adult present. That I wasn't mad. I'm like, okay, I get it. I understand. I didn't like it, obviously, because they didn't. You can't call nobody and say, okay, I was in the room or whatever. But you know, there, I understood why it's that way. But I think it all starts at home. At the end of the day, you can say social media warning, but it's everywhere. TikTok, Twitter. I remember in what do we call it X now, but I remember somewhere around 2009. I want to say this was like right after the Lakers championship. I know the Celtics just won, but it was like right after that. I remember I would go online and I would see um they would promote follow this celebrity, follow this app. And I was like, wow, I didn't really see a lot of that for Facebook and MySpace, but now we're on television time. And now, like, as I'm fully transparent, got the Orioles Yankees game on, and they're in Yankee Stadium, and there's a big sign that right behind is Yankees.com, but on the left of that, TikTok/Yankees. So we do know there are good things, there are bad things about social media. I think it's up to the parents to say, hey, look, here's the limit of your time. This is all you're gonna use, just like you go outside, right? Do you put a warning label on walking outside? Do you put a warning label? No, it's and I get like, yeah, there's on video games and stuff, but I don't think you can put the warning label on the apps, especially when you have think about like businesses, right? If you're trying to hurry up and you got to tweet information in the midst of a tragedy or midst of breaking news, you got to go through all this warning label stuff. Like, no, no, get rid of that. So sometimes people just write opinions just because they can. I get it. You're a surgeon, but no, not this one. Not this one. Um, let's talk about these new Ravens helmets, right? Did y'all see them? Baltimore Ravens, they were one of the few teams that didn't really have a fully alternate uniform with a different helmet. Obviously, the team had a uniform that they wore in 96. I want to say 96, 97, and 98. And then maybe even 99. And then in 2000, I believe they changed it because there was like some sort of lawsuit with the previous design. And when the new design came out, the one that y'all see, that if you're not familiar with the old one, I liked it and I always liked it better. But sometimes the nostalgia part of me wanted to see the old one. And unfortunately, we couldn't get that. But I'm all good with this new one. Um I think it's really cool considering that it was all purple outfit that they're going to be wearing. So let me see if I, you know what, because this is a video podcast, I'm going to put this up. Um because I do think it's cool. I like that it's an all purple helmet. It's not something I would want to see every game. I mean, obviously, if it is that is the case, that's fine. But it's not something I want to see every game. But let's see. And here it is as I get ready to throw it up on the screen for those who are watching. But yeah, so all purple helmet, the bird is facing uh at looking at you as opposed to the profile. So that's really exciting. So shout out to them. We know the Baltimore Orioles, they've changed their bird a few times, changed the logo a couple times throughout the years, gone from the cartoon bird to the regular bird. But I'm very excited about this. I'm not rushing football season. I'm enjoying baseball season right now. My Orioles are in second place, but only 1.5 games behind the Yankees with a being in a 3-game series. So if they could sweep, they're in first place. I think if do my math right, they take 2 out of 3, they can be in first place. But I do think they are the better team. I just think that there was a time when the Yankees and the Orioles played. I mean, when the Yankees and Orioles played, the Orioles won 3-1, the series 3 games to 1. And then when the Yankees took over first place because they got really hot and the Orioles had a little bit of struggles, but it's a long season. I'm excited for it, as you know. I'm gonna take a quick break and then we're gonna talk about Kyrie Irving and Justin Timberlake. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to support this podcast by wearing a t-shirt, whether it's the one that says breaking through glass ceilings or the one that says no ceilings above success, simply go to foryourwear.com. Also, you can support some of your other favorite podcast and content creators, including Those Wrestling Girls, Seahawk, and the Wrestling Club. And you can support some of your favorite independent wrestlers, including Jay Bougie, Trisha Dora, Chaz the Don. Shoot, all the Pure Ignorance is on there. So go on foryourwear.com, go under personalities, you'll find Brian H. Waters, and buy a t-shirt. And remember, I'll give you a shout out on the show. Podcasters and gamers, we all know it can be intense. We're talking, we're getting hype, we're passionate. Sometimes we need a boost. Well, you can get that by getting Rogue Energy. Rogue Energy is the #1 supplement for podcasters and gamers, and they have tons of different flavors, including Strawberry Burst, Tropical Breeze, and Cotton Candy. And you can save 10% by putting in the code Brian H at checkout. So go to rogueenergy.com and enter the code Brian H to save money. And I'm back, ladies and gentlemen. So I mentioned the Boston Celtics are your brand new NBA champions. Now, I'm a Lakers fan, so the Celtics are the rivalry. I don't like the fact that they now have regained the lead for most championships, but it is what it is. Because I am a Jason Tatum fan, and I do like Jaylen Brown's game. So, congrats to them. I'm happy for them to get the title. I hope that I do not see them go in a dynasty. Shout out to my god brother Mike because he was swear up and down. This is the first of many. I hope not. We'll see. But what was interesting was Kyrie Irving. Now, Kyrie has been the topic of a lot of uncomfortable conversations throughout 2020. Actually, probably you can even go back as far as when he left the Cavaliers and went to the Celtics. He was the subject of a lot of uncomfortable conversations. But we saw mature Kyrie, leading this Mavericks team to the finals. But then also, you saw that this video that he stood there and he shook everybody's hand on his team before they walked off the court. You saw him go greet the Boston players. Uh, just the way, his demeanor. And my thing is the reason why I wanted to, bring attention to that because we were so loud when Kyrie wasn't doing stuff. He was saying the earth was flat or he was all over the place, right? He didn't play because his whole thing was he didn't want to him being, getting vaccinated, people forcing people to get vaccinated. That was the thing to the point people was like, oh no, get rid of him and all this stuff, right? All of that. But now you're seeing him being a team player, being a leader. Now, y'all can talk about the on the court stuff, how he didn't show up in Boston. That's a whole different thing. But I want to give him his props because, he showed great leadership. And quite frankly, it's exciting. It's exciting to see where he can take this Mavericks team. I don't want him to get back to the finals next year. Of course, I want the Lakers to get back to the finals. We might be far away, but you're going to root. Excuse me. You're going to root for your team, right? So that's where I am with that. Now, let's flip things around. Justin Timberlake. Justin Timberlake was arrested. DUI charges. This actually early Tuesday morning as I record on a Tuesday. And let's just say he had a lot. He had a lot, and I saw a lot of people. One posting the mugshot. I even saw somebody say, "Huh." Right before Juneteenth, I saw people making a lot of jokes about it. People defending, not defending him necessarily, but saying, Britney Spears, uh, you know, all this stuff about how it's karma. If you listen to Britney's book, you learn how about their relationship, and he wasn't good to her, at least towards the end. And I saw that and I was like, wow, man, that's something. It was I didn't listen to the whole book, but I'll say it was certainly a difficult listen to know a woman went through what she went through dealing with him. It wasn't like, not not disqualifying. It was not good, right? It was not good at all. And you hate to hear that. So um somebody this was looked like Pop Crave made up something about him having coke and uh Molly and all this other stuff. I hate that. Like, we got to be responsible with media. You know what I mean? We was talking about the warning labels, and I don't think a warning label will help, but that's why you got to have these conversations with your children. You got to have these conversations with each other. Hey, this is a notable source. This isn't a notable source. That's what messed up when Elon Musk bought Twitter and changed it to X and made it where the whole thing with the verification process, because it killed a lot of credibility. It did. It killed a lot of credibility. So that's what I say is that's what I say is horrible about the situation. But nonetheless, what is facts is that Justin Timberlake was arrested while driving intoxicated, and the internet is having a lot of fun with it. Needless to say, the internet is having a whole lot of fun with it. Now, before we get out of here, the I mentioned the whole thing about the Ravens design, right? Well, guess what? Let me tell you something. There was a design that the world champion Kansas City Chiefs had for their rings, right? And inside the ring, they put the seedings of the teams. They put the seedings of, so if like, they beat the Dolphins, then they beat the Bills, the Ravens, and then the 49ers. So when they put the seeding, the one thing they saw that they put the Dolphins at the wrong seeding. And I'm like, so who pays for that? That's what I'm wondering. Who's going to pay for this? Like, you made a boo-boo, as they say. So they seeded the Dolphins at 7, but it was actually supposed to be a 6 seed, I believe. Yeah, it was the 6 seed. So, because the Chiefs were a 3 seed. So it's just crazy how they did that. Um, I don't know. Stuff usually goes through copy edit. So do everybody gotta get new rings? What's gonna happen with those? And these rings, like, I have mock rings, right? Like, I found like replica rings for the Ravens Super Bowls and the Lakers 2020 championship. Those are mock rings, but they're like heavy. So imagine if this was like real gold and real diamonds. Wow, this would cost a whole lot of money. But yeah, somebody owes somebody some big time. But they'll write it off. They'll figure it out. Hey, if you got Jewelry Connect, hit me up. I could definitely use that. But before I get out of here, I want to announce that my cousin, one of my closest cousins, will be back, and we're gonna do an episode this week right here, and we're gonna simulcast probably. But yeah, Chain Wayne Blogs. If you go in the archives, you'll see we did an episode. This was during the time of the Shakari Richardson craze. We did an episode about that, and him and I, let's see, we're gonna rock and roll as he get back on the blog game. He took a couple years off. It's been, I think, since 2021. But now we're gonna get back and get started. So I'm really excited. We're gonna record that this weekend, and we're gonna be good to go. But ladies and gentlemen, I may be back sooner than then. Who knows? We'll see what the topics are talking. I'm gonna go back and sit here and hopefully see my Baltimore Orioles beat the New York Yankees. But until the next time, folks, remember, do not let anyone place a ceiling above your success. Also, check out the sponsors. Shout out, one of my homies just got 10% off Symphony of Balloons. So you want balloons, you want a 360 video, I got you. Well, I should say my sister got you, and you get 10% off just by saying you got the information from here. Till the next time, folks, I'm Brian H. Waters. So long, everybody. Are you a podcaster who is looking to share clips from your show in the simplest way possible? Well, I have the best solution, and that's Opus Clip. Opus Clip allows you to take the link to your show, upload it, and then they will clip off some of the best moments. And it allows you to edit it, change the captions, change the colors, and they also give you a viral score so you know which clip can potentially generate more buzz for your show. So if you're looking to do that, click the link in the bio, sign up for Opus Clip, and go viral with some of the best content from your show.